Hey there and welcome. We're going to jump right into a topic that so many of us have felt but, really struggled to put a name to. It's a type of emotional manipulation that doesn't scream at you, it just whispers. And it leaves you questioning everything, especially yourself. So let's start right there with that exact feeling.
Just think about it for a second. You're with someone. Could be anyone. A friend, your partner, someone in your family. They say something, and maybe everyone else laughs. You might even crack a smile yourself. But deep down inside, there's just this heavy, sinking feeling. A sting that you can't really explain, because on the surface, everything seems totally fine.
Yes, that feeling right there. That's what we're going to unpack today. That exact moment when their words say one thing, but how they make you feel is something else entirely. It's super confusing, it can feel really isolating, and trust me, it is way more common than you'd ever think.
So, this sense of confusion, this self-doubt, that's what we're calling the fog. And it's designed to be disorienting. That's the whole point. But our goal here in this explainer is to hand you a map, a way to finally see through it all. We have this picture in our heads of what abuse looks like. We think of yelling, obvious insults, really clear control tactics. But so often, it starts quietly. It's like a slow chipping away at your confidence, all hidden in these little moments that are just so easy to brush off or make excuses for. And that's the big question, isn't it? If it feels so bad, why is it so incredibly hard to put your finger on? And why does some part of you just want to believe it's, a misunderstanding? Well, the answer has nothing to do with being weak. It's all about how our brains are wired to survive. This right here is the absolute key. It's a fancy term, cognitive dissonance, but it's pretty simple. It's what happens when your brain is trying to believe two things that just don't go together. Like thought number one, this person says they love me. And thought number two, the way this person is acting is really hurting me. Holding both of those thoughts at the same time creates this incredible mental static. So to get rid of that awful static, your brain has to do something. And a lot of the time, the path of least resistance is to change your own reality. You start telling yourself, you know what, maybe I am being too sensitive. Or, oh, they didn't mean it like that. It is a survival mechanism. It is not a flaw in your character.
And this slide, this shows you exactly what that gap feels like. Just look at the words on the left. They sound so reasonable, right? Helpful even. But then look at the column on the right. Look at the feeling those words actually create. That huge gap between the two, that's cognitive dissonance. That is the fog.
Okay, so how do we actually start finding our way out of this fog? We learn to spot the signs. We're about to walk through 6 really subtle, quiet warning signs that almost always fly right under the radar.
Just 6 signs. And look, any one of these on its own might seem like no big deal, something you can easily excuse. But when you start to see them as a pattern, oh boy, the whole picture gets a lot clearer.
So we're going to get into 6 key signs here. We've got everything from criticism dressed up as a joke, to this emotional seesaw that keeps you totally off balance, and even this thing called kindness that's actually just a trap. Let's dig into that first one.
This is a classic, right? It's the whole, I'm just being honest with you, or what, you can't take a joke routine? The job is wrapped up in this nice, socially acceptable bow, which makes it feel almost impossible to call out. Because if you get upset, well, then you're the one with no sense of humor.
This one is all about creating instability. It's dizzying. You have no idea which version of them you're going to get from one minute to the next. And this keeps you constantly on edge, always trying to win back their approval and terrified of doing something wrong. It's absolutely exhausting. And that feeling of being on eggshells, it leads us perfectly into our next sign. A phrase like this, it almost sounds like they care, doesn't it? But listen closer. It's actually the perfect example of this next tactic. This is when somebody does all these favors for you that you never asked for, or they offer help that, if you're honest, kind of makes you feel a little bit useless. The goal here isn't generosity. It's to make you feel like you owe them, to make you dependent on them.
All right, these last 3 are all about keeping you guessing. First up, number 4, shifting goalposts. This is when you finally do the thing they wanted, but surprise, the target has moved. The rules are always changing, so you can literally never win, which just leaves you feeling like you're not good enough. Then there's number 5, the innocent interrogation. This is the constant 20 questions about your day, who you saw, what you spent, all disguised as, I just care about you. But it feels more like an audit. It's not about connection, it's about surveillance. And finally, number 6, and this one is so powerful, withholding affection, the silent treatment. That sudden icy coldness that comes out of nowhere, leaving you desperate and scrambling to figure out what you did wrong.
Okay, so we've mapped out the fog. We've identified the signs. Now for the really important part. How do we start to find our way out? And the first step is, believe it or not, the simplest and the most powerful one there is.
You have to remember, this whole system works because it makes you not trust yourself. It's only effective as long as you're convinced that you're the one overreacting, or you're the problem. That confusion is the manipulator's best friend.
So this is the big secret. Breaking the spell doesn't require a huge dramatic confrontation. You don't need them to agree with you. The very first and most freeing step is to just name what's happening, for yourself. This isn't a joke. This is criticism. This isn't care. This is control.
And that gut feeling, the one we talked about right at the beginning, that little sting that you couldn't quite explain, that was never, ever proof that you were too sensitive. It was your intuition working perfectly. It was a warning signal trying to cut through all that fog.
Look, just by seeing these patterns, by giving them a name, you start to take your power back. You start to trust your own reality again. So the question I really want to leave you with is this. Now that you have the map, what parts of the fog are you starting to see clearly for the very first time?